Dear friends, how are you? Good news that Anne Marie has floated her new political party, and the website for Britain, ForBritain, is up now. You can all join her political party now. Why am I joining? Let's think about that. Let's ask that question. Why Mufasil? Why? What makes you so enthusiastic about it? And why are you so interested about it? Well, probably many of you already know that I came to this country more than 2 decades ago. I fell in love with this country. I didn't come here for money. I came here for education, and eventually I worked for many law offices, and then I worked for in US, American, New York law offices. I worked also in other countries, including Asian countries, in law offices. So I fell in love with this country, where most of my family members settled in the US. I chose this country because of this tradition, the culture, history, and freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the most important thing for me in my life. Freedom of speech. And I was preaching Islam all my life. I was debating with scholars of other religions, even atheists. Deep down, I always wanted to make this country even better. But over the years, I have seen that Britain has compromised with its culture, with its traditions, in the name of multiculturalism. It is strange, but it is true that for whatever reason, I grew to love English villages, because how they valued their culture, the tradition. You know, I come from a country, Bangladesh, where you have Paharpur University, which was there thousands of years ago. You know, we had the Nalanda University in the subcontinent, which is considered to be the oldest example of a university in the world. But over the years, I have seen this is slipping in the name of multiculturalism. British culture is being compromised. And what is Britain? If you have been living here for many years, and I have lived 90% of my adult life in Britain, and I can tell you that I have loved the literature, the history, the culture, the tradition since I was a child. And my family members were coming here since, 1960s. My grandfather came to one of the seashores here in Britain, and took the first ocean liner from Britain back in 1962 or 61, as far as I remember. And the name of the vessel was Ludwig, from Liverpool. So that's how we were all well connected. So I ended up loving this country. I fell in love with this country. And the best thing I cherished, and which made me live in this country, was the respect for freedom of speech. Here I saw that I could be a Muslim better than any other Muslim country, because that's what I was. I was a Muslim. I was an apologetic Muslim, but I was a Muslim. So here I saw that people could be Muslim better than in many other Muslim countries. For example, in Tunisia, the mosques are closed when it is not the prayer times, but here mosques do not close the doors. And here women wear hijab and even burqa, whereas many European countries even are bringing in restrictions on burqa. So I have seen here Muslims can be Muslims better than many Muslim countries. Here, Muslim women can go and work, whereas in many Muslim countries, in the name of Islam, a religious Muslim woman cannot work even in Bangladesh, the country where I was born. Hifazat-e-Islam made a massive movement to restrict women's right to work. So, deep down, I had huge respect for this freedom of speech. But I didn't know that this freedom of speech was there for what? How did it grow? It grew with the great minds contributing, being able to contribute their say in the building of this nation. They didn't rely on religion, or some of them might have relied on religion, and they might have used their understanding to make this country better. I was thinking all my life that Islam allowed freedom of speech, and I was relying on these apologetic verses, and I didn't dig deep into the geopolitics, although I knew the geopolitics behind those verses, but I didn't give much attention to those which I already knew. So those norms of respect for freedom of speech eventually made me much more vocal than I ever was when I saw people getting killed for simply being civilians, simply being Europeans, and terrorism started knocking on the British shores. That woke me up, because I took an oath many years ago, that I will not let the government down. The trust which was placed in me by taking me in as one of its citizens, I must not let this country down. And eventually, there's a war in my heart, a war between my religious convictions and my patriotism for Britain. And I saw that I could be a human being above all in Britain. So my humanity prevailed over my religious convictions. Here, above all, this is the best country in the whole world, trust me, still, for freedom of speech. Although those freedom of speeches are being hammered with failure by government politicians, failures by authorities to see where the real problem lies, and social reformers being too apologetic, global leaders being too apologetic, and even sometimes some naive people thinking that this problem can be solved by being racist or being abusive or being, hostile, or being, taking up arms or something, creating civil unrest. They were like clueless how to take this forward, how to really uproot the problem in the name of multiculturalism, in the name of tolerance. We are losing our unique prestige as a nation. If you don't nourish what England stands for, if you don't nourish what Britain stands for, you will have no reason to have this nation. It will be diluted in the world politics, and it will lose its identity. Britain is a nation which sheltered great minds. Not necessarily they took up their understanding, their ideology, but they nourished them. And those words, like, I will give my life for you to speak your mind, although I would not believe in those. This is the best country in the world. No, not America, not even America, no. I lived there, I worked there. My eldest son is an American citizen. My mom is an American citizen. But I can tell you, and I will be the last man to give up this fight of words, of wisdom and knowledge. I had the opportunity to meet Anne Mary Waters, because I heard many things about her, for and against. But she sat down with me And she made a promise to me, Mufassil, I will speak for ex-Muslims and I will not let you down. Nobody in the Western politics so far had the balls to say ex-Muslims are the worst sufferers from Islam. And if you out there, a Muslim scholar, a Muslim man, if you can come to me and tell me, Mufassil, you can call my prophet whatever you want, I will debate with you, but still I'll give you a hug. Well, that's the Muslim we want to see. That's the Islam. If you can prove it to me that Islam is possible, which I don't believe is possible, but if you can prove it to me, well, I have no problem with that. Dr. Umar al-Qadri had a debate with me. You know, I respect that man because although I found him to be really failing in making me believe, or my audience to believe, that Islam stood for tolerance towards apostates. And there's nothing against apostates in Islam, really, to persecute them or kill them. But still, he was the man who came to me, had a debate with me, had a dialogue with me, and you all heard that dialogue. And still after the dialogue, he sent me a letter calling me a brother, and I responded by saying that I would love to have a dinner with him one day. If you are such a person, and you can tell me that you are ready to tolerate my freedom of speech, and will respect my right freedom of speech, being a Muslim, Christian, Jew, atheist, agnostic, whatever, you are a man who deserves to be in Britain, because you are in fact valuing the most important thing Britain stands for, which is freedom of speech. There are many things which make Britain great. Many things. We have great sports personalities, historians, logicians, scientists, physicians. We are the best in the world. You know, in nation, population-wise, we have the highest number of Nobel Prize winners. Great nation. History. Those of you who think of Britain as an imperialist nation because of its past, I can tell you, Britain is a nation which gave to the world most as well. You look around, the scientific developments, the culture, that you look around yourself now and call your nation a modern nation. Britain had a massive role to play in everything. In everything. So we have great country. But this great country needs to be kept great. And for that, I'm standing next to my friend Anne-Marie Waters with all support. And I believe if you are an ex-Muslim, or any person who wants to make this country great from whatever point of view you have, and you need to have a dialogue, it's a new political party. And I'm sure that there will be hiccups here and there, but we will have differences of opinions, and this is a country where we will have difference of opinions, and we tolerate that, and we love difference of opinions, because difference of opinions makes us learn. If you think you can cope with that, that's what you believe, join Anne-Marie's political party, For Britain. Look at the name, For Britain. It should bring tears to your eyes. For Britain. Britain needs you now. Britain, Mom, you needed me, your son is here. I might be your adopted son, but I'm your son. And my children are British citizens. And I love this nation. This is a nation where I was not born, but this is the nation where I want to be buried one day. So let's put our hands together and fight our way for justice. And the best way to fight is through intelligence, intellect, and with wisdom, being wise with words. That's the way to take it forward. And my fight is for freedom of speech. That's what I'm going to contribute to this party and to this nation. Love you all.
We will make America great again.